what's going on in Texas, which also involves new redistricting programs that are going on and gerrymandering, essentially, and how we feel about that. Again, we've talked about this. You can like it or you can not like it. It is, though, the way the game works right now in the world of politics. So we're going to break that down, Will, as there's been some sort of unprecedented moves coming from the left.
That's right. So in Texas, they're in the middle of a special legislative session. Texas has a very different way that they call their legislature in than many other states. And they're in this special legislative session where they're going over and they have votes on things such as relief for the floods that were happening and all of the horrific things that happen in Texas. But one of their items as well is a redrawing of the congressional maps, which is the job of the state legislature. And they are trying to redo this now. And the Democrats in Texas decided to pull a political stunt, and that is flee the state. So no business of the state legislature can move forward. They fled to places like Chicago and New York to get away, and so that they cannot be forced to go to the legislature to vote, which is their duty, what they swore an oath to do. They're outside of the law, and they are fleeing so that there cannot be a quorum, meaning there's not enough members of the legislative body there to vote, to hold a vote, to even be in session. And so what we're doing is we're looking here, and they have fled the state. Now you're seeing officials in Texas, as well as Senator Cornyn from Texas, sending a letter to the director of the FBI saying, Texas may need your help here, of wrangling these Texas Democrats who have fled the state in dereliction of their duty. Yeah.
Should the FBI get involved?
Well, they may have to. They may have to. No, I know they want them back. Not only the attorney general, the governor wants them back. If you look, I mean, the governor of Texas is demanding they come back. So a lot of people are demanding they come back. You can't just sit it out.
So they are outside of the reaches of the Texas federal, the Texas State Police, the Texas Rangers, things of that nature, that they are now in other states. They're being protected in some places, like the governor of Illinois or the governor of New York are giving them places to stay in order to not have to return, because a civil warrant has already been issued to have the sergeant at arms of the House to bring them back. And why did they leave? Because if they don't have enough members present in the state house, they cannot have a quorum, so they can't do any of their official business. They can't move forward. They can't have votes. So they are trying to completely stall the process. They're obstructing the legislative session by leaving the state. Now, the stakes are getting higher. This isn't the first time Texas Democrats have done this, by the way, to try and block the state's business from moving forward. Some of the more popular members of the new Democrat Party in Congress, you think about that are there, got their rise to fame because they left Texas at the time. Jasmine Crockett was one of those members that now is in the House of Representatives. So the stakes are now higher for this reason, Logan. There are the governor has put notice to the Supreme Court of Texas that he believes that the leader of the Democrats should be removed from office. He has vacated his seat by not performing his duties, by leaving the state to obstruct this. That individual member has by Friday to respond. The Attorney General of Texas is also taking moves. But we see Senator John Cornyn sending this letter to the director of the FBI saying, I encourage the Federal Bureau of Investigation to take any appropriate steps to aid in Texas state law enforcement efforts to locate or arrest potential lawbreakers who have fled the state. As a maneuver to avoid legislative responsibilities, on August 3rd, 2025, many members in the Texas House of Representatives absconded from the state. Their stated goal was to prevent the legislature from properly meeting in violation of their oath of office. There are other things in here, as well as asking them to look at, are there potential violations of the law outside of the legislative issues? But if we have seen that people were offering them private planes, flights to get out of Texas. Some people are putting up money to help them stay or eat or live off of while they are out of the state. Is that considered taking a bribe by accepting a benefit to get out of town and not let something move forward.
It feels like it should be.
Right.
I mean, that seems like you're obstructing justice, you're obstructing things from going on. And if you're being paid to do it, it feels pretty bad. It feels very un-American and very not Texas.
Very non-Texas, but here's the other thing. The hypocrisy that we're starting to see out of this. Now, a lot of people don't like gerrymandering and the way that these districts get drawn. That is...
You should come up with a better name.
It is a weird name.
It automatically makes you feel like you're doing something illegal.
Right. It doesn't sound like a legal process.
Over there.
Redistricting process, though, is always done by the power, the party in power in the state. They have the ability to create these maps, and if they have enough votes, get them through, and then that affects the congressional delegations. But on one hand, you're hearing people say how bad this is. We have one Texas lawmaker that likened this to the Holocaust with Don Lemon. Literally said that what they're doing in Texas is like the Holocaust about redrawing congressional districts. She later apologized to Fox News about it when they asked her about it. We do. Do you want to play it?
Why not?
Let's play it.
Integration happened and everybody thought they accept us. They don't accept us. They are showing us who they are. We should believe them. And we better have the courage to stand up. Otherwise, we will fall for anything. And in this country, we will be defeated, deported. I mean, we will lose all of our rights. And if you think it can't happen, it can. And I will liken this to the Holocaust. People are like, well, how did the Holocaust happen? How was somebody in a position to kill all them people? Well, good people remain silent. Or good people didn't realize that what happens to them can very soon happen to me or somebody I love. And so even if you made it, man, you have an obligation to help people who can't, because God forbid they end up targeting you and your family.
So she has since apologized, saying it was an inappropriate statement. She was passionate. But the fact that that's where your mind would even go.
I would say I've heard a lot worse. I feel like when they start evoking the Holocaust, usually it's like, oh, this is bad.
But over congressional redistricting.
No, that's ridiculous.
About congressional redistricting. But at the same time, Governor Gavin Newsom in California, all these Democrats are saying how bad this is. And by the way, Illinois, one of the states that they fled to, is one of the worst offenders when it comes to redistricting.
Can we show that?
Yeah, let's show the map of Illinois, of how their districts are run.
You may think that's a river that's running through the middle of Illinois, but no, that's just a random district.
Two green districts was completely crafted to give another seat to a Democrat because of how conservative the southern part of Illinois is. Mm-hmm. And there's third-party groups that try to rate the congressional districts, and Illinois is one of the worst offenders, and that's where they're harboring these people to stop them from voting on a plan by their state legislature.
Ever spent any time in southern Illinois? It's more southern than almost the deep south. There are times you walk through and you're like, how am I in Illinois?
Right.
It's so bizarre, but it is cool. It's a good place.
But then you also see what now Gavin Newsom is saying he may do.
Gavin does, what he feels like, man.
Some lawmakers are saying this is as bad as the Holocaust and then apologizing for it.
He's Harvey Dent.
He's saying, well, if Texas does it, I'm going to redistrict California right now to give us more congressional seats to match that. So it's the worst thing you can do. It's anti-democratic, but if they do it, we're going to do it too. The hypocrisy is so rich throughout this entire story. And I hope that they are able to get back and vote on things that they need to vote on. Historically, these political stunts do nothing to actually stop the legislation. What they end up doing is boosting the profile of some of the members who decided to talk loudly to the press while they had a spotlight on them, because you don't hear about state lawmakers out of any state, really, typically, unless you live there. And that's all this is. It's a political stunt. But they are actually causing real harm to the people of Texas by absconding their duties and fleeing the state instead of going. And if they want to vote against it, proudly vote against it. Speak out against it. This is the problem with all
the way this is all set up. And we have a call about that. I want to go to Lisa in Texas real quick. Lisa, running out of time for this segment, but I don't want you to hold any longer. Go ahead.
I was just wondering, why can't they make a rule that if they aren't there to vote, then whoever shows up to vote is the one who's votes?
If this was normal business as usual, You'd think that would be one of the rules. But of course, this is politics. Of course, this is the government. There's ways for them to skip out of their job with no consequences. This happened in any private business, you'd be fired. But of course, that's not how Washington and not how even Texas, how the government seems to run.
Well, exactly. And actually, a quorum is set there to protect members of the minority party, so that legislation isn't just passed very quickly without them having a say in it. If it is, they call a special legislative session and everyone can't get back, or they try to pull a trick of some sort. It's actually there to protect the minority party. The minority party, though, is weaponizing this, and instead of saying like, oh, this isn't the 1800s and our horse and buggy didn't make it in time, therefore you couldn't vote without us, they are leaving the state to try and weaponize the use of a quorum. And apparently this is a long history in Texas, so we said it's not very Texas, but they've been using this political strategy, according to the Texas Tribune, since 1870. Okay. So maybe there is a rich tradition of
the whole West, they just
the state.
I guess it makes sense.